Hello to all of my friends out there in YouTube land. It is your good buddy Philtastic here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to tell you before things get started, this video may be a little bit longer than I typically go. And I know that in some cases is a lot coming from me. But if you get to the end, I think you'll find that the time is well spent. In case you haven't known, as of last week, actually last week today, for the first time in 24 years, I no longer have a pull box at an LCS. I know that to some this may seem trivial, but to me I got some feelings about it, to be honest with you. I'll tell you right off the bat, if you're looking for a video where I'm going to sit and bash my former LCS, you're not going to find it here. I certainly have some feelings about the situation, but at the end of the day, I do like my former LCS. I like the people who work there, the owner. Even though I don't agree with what went down and how it went down, I think it's going to be a better move for me, to be perfectly honest with you. But before we get into all that, I'm going to show you what my final LCS haul is. And I'll be honest with you, nothing groundbreaking. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I haven't been there in a while. But I don't know, I still managed to get some things. Not everything that I was intending on getting, but we'll just leave it at that. Ghost Machine is something that I've been wanting to follow up on. So here we go, is Hyde Street. This is number 5. I haven't even started Hyde Street yet. So I'm interested in seeing what's going on with that. Geiger number 9. The last time I read a Geiger book, I know that there was something that was going to happen with his dog, and that was going to happen in the next issue. That's been a few months now. Here's number 11. And yes, there are some holes in what I've bought now, but I'll talk more on that in another video. Geiger number 12. That's a cool cover. Geiger number 13. Red Coat number 8. I like this cover a lot too. I was trying to think. I think I only had the first 2 issues of Red Coat. I really have to go back and see what I have there, so I have some catching up to do. Red Coat number 10. Red Coat number 11. Monstrous number 53. Monstrous number 54. I know that there are a couple more issues now, but I think the book is back on a break. Hyde Street number 1. Hyde Street number 2. Hyde Street number 4. Okay. Box 1 is down. Like I told you, I mean, there's nothing outrageous in this. I wouldn't call this an unboxing. Again, this is more of a catch-up, I guess you could say. This one's not even a full box, by the way. Okay. Laura Kinney, Wolverine, number 2. Cool cover. I'm looking forward to that one. Laura Kinney, Wolverine, number 3. Cool cover as well. Laura Kinney, Wolverine, number 4. Laura Kinney, number 5. Forgot if that's Gadios or Malieve. I think it's Malieve on the cover, but well done. Kind of reminds me of his Daredevil work that he did with Bendis a few years back. More than a few years back at this point, let's be honest. Wolverine number 1. This is the worst cover, but it's the only one that they had. Probably should have just skipped that one in retrospect, but what can you do? Wolverine number 4. Wolverine number 5. This is a full variant. Wolverine number 6. I think this is supposed to be Cyber, who is my favorite and, in my opinion, most underrated Wolverine villain. Wolverine number 7. This is an Invisible Woman variant. Kind of cool, actually. And in the cases where you see variants, it's not that I really liked it, it's that that's what was left, or the best of what was left, why don't we say. Wolverine number 8. I believe this is the most recent issue. Simone Biondi cover. He's hit or miss in my opinion. This one is more on the hit side, why don't we say. And it looks like Romulus is back, the biggest who cares villain. And this is one that's a little bit older. What if Galactus transformed Gambit? I knew it was a what if. You know, at one point I was trying to collect all the what ifs, including the newer ones, but and granted I haven't read this one yet, so maybe it's unfair for me to say it, but all the newer what if things, when they usually base them around series or events, just kind of fall off in my opinion. So maybe I should just go back and try to get the older what if, especially now that the show is over. The second part of this video, or third part, I really wanted to show you some I don't know how to put it, some antiquities, why don't we say, for lack of a better word. It's probably not the best word to use. I have from my LCS, a former LCS, to correct myself. First thing, when I opened up my box, my pull box, again, 24 years ago, I remember I had been out of comics for a while. I had just graduated from college. I don't even know where I got money for comics, to be honest with you, at that point, because I didn't start working until, it took me about a little over a year to find a job. So that's a mystery to figure out. I didn't know this shop. It was in the next town over, and I had kind of heard Spider-Man, they put out a special Spider-Man book for 9/11, which had just happened. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting. Let me see if I could check it out. I went to the store, and this was like a month later, and I had no idea that this was a hot book or anything like that. And the owner was like, yeah, man, good luck with that one. You think I still have that? It's like, okay. Left that day. Then I had heard, hey, they're going to tell a story that you've never expected them to tell, and that was Origin, the origin of Wolverine. So I went back there and I asked about it, and he's like, it's not out yet. I didn't know things at this point, you know, shops got things like delays and everything. When I was collecting, it was, I think, almost unheard of for a book to be delayed. I think the only time a book was delayed was an Image book or a Valiant book. Remember, I started collecting in the early 90s. So it was like, Marvel's delaying a book? Dude, you're wrong. And I think the owner, who's now a good friend of mine, this is the original owner, Elon, was just like, yeah, dude, it happens. I was like, okay. So I just started popping in periodically, getting Origins, and then slowly kind of dipping my feet back into the comic book water, why don't we say. Going from X-Men, and then, which I was familiar with, of course, expanding my horizons a little bit, going to Avengers, and some of the individual Avengers books as well. Also getting, at the time, just a smattering of DC titles, your basics, Batman. I don't think I was collecting Superman regularly yet. There was a span I was. But anyway, when I finally, after going there a couple months, he's offered, hey, you know, you can open up a box here so that if you can't make it, I can save something for it. I was like, oh, all right, how does that work? And he gave me the spiel, and I signed up, and he gave me this card, which I've never used except for looking at my box number, 64. And it's a preferred customer discount card. 20% off all back issues, 10% on all cards with a minimum purchase of 10 packs. I never bought cards there. 10% discount on all role-playing games, not me. 10% discount on trade paperbacks. Okay, bought some of those there. 10% off all videos. Videos were gone by the time I started coming there. New comics are discounted for reserved customers only. I could say that I used to get about a 10% discount on new comics. I don't know about trade paperbacks or back issues. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I just don't remember. So yeah, I've had this card for a while. And when I look at this, it reminds me of Elon, but it reminds me of so much more. You know, a long time ago, somebody said to me, don't ever get too attached to an object or to a place, because they're not worth tethering yourself to. But I had so many great memories, mostly with the original owner, now that I think about it more. You know, I really felt that my LCS was just a part of me, almost. Again, 24 years is a long time. I look at this card and I think back and I remember in 2006, Free Comic Book Day. It's also my youngest sister's Holy Communion. And this is before Free Comic Book Day really blew up, at least from what I can remember. We had the communion, and then ironically, by the way, today is Free Comic Book Day, and I know that many children are making their communion today too, but I digress. And there's going to be a party at my father's house in between, and there was a little bit of downtime. I said, I'm going to go to the store. I want to get my free comics and get my pull list. Never go to Free Comic Book Day without buying something, by the way. That's just the way to be. And I went. That's kind of a lot of comics. And as I was walking down the center aisle, my phone rang. It's my sister, to let me know that my grandmother, who had been not doing so great, had finally passed. And I just remember I was at the store, and it was weird. It was like a nice sunny day, and you just kind of feel like you're like, boom, hit with a ton of bricks. But again, this all happened while I was at that store, and I've always kind of thought back to this as where, I found this out. Fast forward a couple of years, Elon and I at this point had gotten to know each other really, really well. I was in a relationship. It wasn't a good relationship, but like most not good relationships, when you're in it, you don't know how bad things are. And I was kind of going into that, hey, I'm just realizing that this is not good phase. And I would go to the comic book store, and I would sit and I would talk with Elon for hours. Not about comics. Yes, we would talk a little bit about comics, but just about relationship issues. And in that kind of moment, not only did Elon really become my really close friend, but he also, it became kind of like a therapy session for me. We used to kind of joke around. This is like Cheers. It's cheaper than going to a bar and probably better for you. At the time, comics were cheaper than booze. Things have changed. I'll show you this. Elon had new t-shirts made up. This one has seen better days for sure. I actually don't wear this one anymore. The last time I wore this was, I think 3 years ago, when the store had their 40th anniversary. Might have been a little bit longer than that. Let me see, does it mark the date on here? No. But yeah, they are the oldest store in New Jersey. And I've been proud to say, hey, I guess I was a box holder there. And I think that was such a huge accomplishment, especially in today's society, to have any small business for that long. But a comic book store, that's unheard of. I actually wrote to my local and state representatives, and if you were to go into that shop now, you'll see a plaque or a certificate, I'm not quite sure what it is, from our congresswoman and from the state as well, affirming that Fat Moose Comics celebrated its 40th anniversary on such and such a date in the oldest comic book shop in New Jersey. I just think it's hilarious too, because I reached out to I think they're called county executives now. They were called something else a few years ago. Had to actually read Fat Moose Comics on the floor of the state building, of the state house, and they actually had to pass a resolution doing this. But yeah, that certificate, because of me, my efforts is hanging on the wall there. Like I said, I don't really wear this t-shirt anymore. This is actually in a drawer I have of retired t-shirts. And I had plenty of good memories there too. It's where I bought my first really big key issue, X-Men #1. I remember I had it on layaway. I remember kind of thinking about it, and this is just as I was maybe like 2 or 3 years back into comics, and it had sat on my LCS back wall. And I finally asked about it. I was like, all right, let me think about it. And I asked my mom about it, because I was like, if anybody's going to talk me out of this, it's my mom. And she said, well, could it be worth something? Sometimes like, well, it's kind of worth a good amount now, and it's got all these key first appearances. So my mom is responsible for me buying my first big key, X-Men #1, and I'm glad I have that book. It's a seminal book, of course, and it's something that, as I pare down my collection, will of course stay with it, and hopefully my kids have an appreciation for it. If not, it's there for them to do what they want once need be. We'll say that. Where the store used to be was at a strip mall, and it's not there anymore. It's been torn down. There's a BJ's there now. There was a really good bookstore next to it, like a proper bookstore. And they had a signing of Steve Sharippa from The Sopranos. I actually went to the signing with my mom. And while we're online, we're kind of in front of the comic book store. And at this point, I'll be honest with you, I felt a certain way about telling people I was back into comics in my 20s. Look at me now. Yeah, when I would go to the store, my mom would go, where are you going? I was like, I just got to go take care of something. So we're hanging out in front of the store because the line was going outside. And of course, Elon sees me from behind the glass, so he comes out. I was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hi, this is my mom. And he's like, oh, I'm the guy who takes all of your son's money. So that was kind of like, yeah, Mom, I'm buying comics again. It's like, yeah, I kind of figured it out. Wise guy. The best memory I think I have of there is the first time that my wife met the original owner, Elon. It was just, it was like, I don't know, it was just such a fun occasion. I really can't put it into words, which I'm sure is very helpful for you, presumably still watching this video. I also remember just going normally with my wife, and I'd be getting my books and I'd be talking to whomever was working behind the register, and she would always get like a stack of we used to just call them booby books, something usually from Zenoscope, or just something where it was a little too revealing. She's like, what's this about? It's like, honey, I don't know. I don't buy that. Well, why do they even make it? It's like, because there are people who like that. I don't know what it's called, but the current owner wanted to do, I think it was called a flash mob, which I didn't know what it meant at the time, and we were part of it, and I still don't know. At the store, it was just basically just like a crazy little video. I still don't know what the point was, but my wife and I had fun doing it. The last thing I'll show off, this reflective sticker. They sell these stickers, and they encourage people to stick them up all around. And sometimes people travel overseas and stick them up on the walls or anything you stick things to, I guess. Anyway, so he's like been tagged in pictures from Japan and whatnot of these stickers. I guess this sticker is not going to be making its way around the world. Instead, I'm going to put it right here. This is a kind of a memento box I've kept since I was a kid, and I've got some things in here like old work name tags. I made a name tag for myself about 20 years ago when I ran for office. That's in here. I have a printout of a little part I had to read at my grandfather's funeral is in here. A lot of other things, keychains, various little tchotchkes that at one time was like the most important thing in the world to me. And this sticker is going in this box. It's not going around the world, it's going in here, and it's going to sit amongst my other kind of treasures, for lack of a better word. I definitely feel a certain way about it. At the same time, I think that this is going to be a good thing as far as helping my collecting goals in the end. I'm not rushing into opening up another box. I know how ridiculous this whole conversation sounds. You know, for an adult male of my age to be like, yeah, I don't use this store anymore. But to me, I mean, I guess it was more of a store. To me it was, but I guess in the end, I didn't mean as much to the store as it did to me. That's the best I can say. And again, I'm not knocking them at all. It's a wonderful store, the best in New Jersey. And the staff there is wonderful. I still encourage people to go. You're just not going to find me there, at least as a box holder. This chapter is closed. You know, and again, although I don't have a store any longer, I'm still a collector. Enough. And if you made it this far, just comment. I'm going to give you credit for the contest. No hashtags or anything like that. I do thank you for listening if you've gotten it this far. If you haven't, then you don't really know what I'm saying, so screw you. Nothing left to say but peace, love, and comics. Take care.